I'm a simple man, of simple tastes. Yes, I'm aware money is good and it would help run our channel. If need be, I too would steal bearer bonds from some rich jerks to make things easier. But then I'd have to get a crew and deal with a cop from New York. That's a lot of trouble. Now, y'all could save me the trouble of all of that if you just head over to patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of a ruined corporate Christmas party, you can help support this channel and the people that run it. Your donations help improve our channel and can even help give our loved ones a happy holidays. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation. And have a happy holidays.
Live from the 30th floor of the Nakatomi Tower, it's the After Credits cast. It's a real banger of a party here tonight, and don't you worry about anyone trying to steal our money tonight. We're broke as shit. Only things we have are our mics and the lovely company of Ryan Merrydorse.
Hello.
And I am Aaron Wassesclaws.
Wassesclaws.
I never get tired of the pun names. I miss them. So yeah, we're doing our Christmas special this month, I guess, as you call it, in December, which is very fitting. We're going to start off with the controversial Christmas pick of Die Hard, a movie that is set in Christmas, not about Christmas. Even Bruce Willis doesn't think it's a Christmas movie. But hey, you know what? We're here anyway. We're going to do it. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
I think you mean Yippie Ki Yay, but that's alright. We'll let it.
Either way. Before we get started, make sure you go down to the description below. You can see links for our Patreon, our YouTube channel, our different links to the audio versions only on Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, and various other broadcasting services. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. And our email is evacstation@gmail.com. If you want to send us your happy holiday wishes, if you want to send us anything on Patreon, we'd love it, guys, because we have people we need to take care of for our holidays. Sort of, kind of, mostly. Yes. So, with that in mind, Ryan, I don't have what you're watching this week. I'm going to still do something special for holidays. Wait till the new year when we get our What You Watching back. For today, I have my first question of the holiday season. What is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Now, this is a bit difficult because I don't have many Christmas traditions.
Oh, really?
No, not really. I mean, aside from the typical go to church and do presents, it's really just another day to kind of relax and not be at work. But one of my favorite ones that we do it for Thanksgiving and we do it as well for Christmas, is I will help my dad cook a pan of banana pudding. We do a kind of Southern style recipe for it. He learned it from his mom. He passed it to me, and I can't do the holiday season without doing at least a pan for Thanksgiving and a pan for Christmas. So I will pull that one as my favorite tradition.
I like that. I've actually been trying to help cook more during the holidays, mostly, and I didn't when I was younger because we'd always travel out of town, so it's like, well, I don't know your kitchen, I don't have my stuff here, I'm not going to bring all my stuff with me, so I just kind of rolled the punches. Right. But ever since Mom and Dad started hosting, I've been kind of trying to help out a little bit more. Last year, I think I tried making loaded potato egg rolls. They were pretty good. I had fun with those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I want to try doing taco egg rolls. That'd be kind of fun. Anything but regular egg rolls, just to mess with people. For my tradition, one thing we used to do, and we haven't done it in recent years for a very good reason. So, there's a local event here in the metro Iowa area. I'm not going to narrow it down for those who are trying to stalk me. The one of you out there who gives a damn about stalking me. It is a event called the Jolly Holiday Lights. I don't know if you have anything like this in Chicago, Ryan, so I'll describe it and you can tell me. Basically, they take this big park area. It used to be at a place called Waterworks Park. And it's like this big outdoor area where you can drive your cars through. And they'd have like all these different like Christmas light displays set up alongside the road, so to speak. And you could drive through at night and kind of go at a slow pace. You give your money to them, and it's like for charity, for Make-A-Wish. And whatever money they make, they donate to that. And you just go through, and all these different companies have sponsored these different lighting displays up there, and they look really cool. They get some pretty creative stuff out there for some years. But recently, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, they had to move it because the Waterworks Park in general had been flooded out really bad, and the displays weren't going to work properly because all the outlets are fucked up. So they moved it to a suburb of our little area called Altoona, where it's now residing in a parking lot for Adventureland, which is a theme park nearby, and it's kind of closed down during the holiday season because it's, winter. But we haven't gone up there to do it yet because the first year they did it, Amanda and I drove by just to see if it was, doable. Man, that line of traffic was fucking long. It was...
I can only imagine.
It was into the actual streets. That's how bad it was. It never was that bad at Waterworks. We didn't look at it last year, but I hadn't heard anything about it. So maybe this year we'll actually give it a shot and see if it's back up to snuff. See if that line's gotten better managed. Because I really want to go there again. It was a fun little tradition we had.
Yeah, the closest thing we have to that is, essentially, once the holiday season hits, pretty much, I want to say, maybe a week or two before Thanksgiving even, they start lining, pretty much all of downtown with Christmas lights. So you can, you don't necessarily have to drive downtown because downtown is so easily accessible in Chicago by public transit. But yeah, they pretty much holiday it up for the entirety of downtown, which is a really big place, and it makes an already pretty city even more beautiful. So I really love that shit.
Nice. But yeah, that's my tradition. Is it weird that we're all so drawn to the Christmas lights? They're just colored lights. They just flash sometimes, but goddamn, they don't make they make really good decorations.
I feel like there's a lot. I feel like on top of being a really beautiful sight, there's also a lot of added just Christmas feeling and good cheer around them. So it looks good, and it also makes you remember better times and old, fond, cherished memories. It's not Christmas without Christmas lights.
That's very true. Man, I'm excited to talk about the holidays. It's gonna be good times. So let's get on to this week's movie, which you all know what it is. This week's holiday jingle is Die Hard from 1988, directed by John McTiernan. It made approximately $140,776,000 at the box office. The film features notable actors such as Bonnie Bedelia, Paul Gleason, the late Alan Rickman, God rest his soul, and the legend himself, Mr. Bruce Willis. We'll be talking more about him next month, actually. Get ready for that. The film has a few nominations, but it has a BMI Film and TV Music Award for Michael Kamen's score, and the winner of 2 different Japanese awards for Best Foreign Film. I've never actually seen an American film win a foreign film award. It's really a weird, surreal experience.
Die Hard! Wait, no, Die Hard! Are you serious?
I'm serious!
I love it. I absolutely adore it. It's great.
So yeah, you learn something new every day. And speaking of learning things, Ryan, I believe you have some facts for me today.
Yes, we do have 2 fun facts. In fact, we have 2 fun Alan Rickman facts. So I love talking about this dude. First and foremost, the scene in which Gruber and McClane meet was actually inserted into the script after Alan Rickman was found to be proficient at mimicking American accents. I fucking love this scene so much.
Good.
The filmmakers have been looking for a way to have the 2 characters meet prior to the climax, and they capitalized on Rickman's talent. So fucking fantastic. I can't imagine this movie without it. It was perfect. The second one is that director John McTiernan found it necessary to smash cutaway from Hans Gruber's face whenever he fired a gun because of Alan Rickman's uncontrollable habit of flinching from the noise and the muzzle flash. So if you look at Rickman's face when he shoots Tazaki, you can actually see him wincing. That's hilarious.
I did manage to catch that just the last second. It was yeah, it's a little noticeable.
You can't have your big bad guy flinching every time he shoots like that.
Man, Alan Rickman was such a treasure. I wish we had him around still, but
God, man,
yeah.
Young Alan Rickman. The only other movie I noticeably remember him from in his younger years was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. You remember that?
I actually never saw that one. Is it really good?
Oh my god, that's a classic! Dude! Fucking Everything I Do For You, the Bryan Adams, fucking soft rock ballad anthem that came from that movie.
Nice.
You gotta check that out. It's hilarious. Alan Rickman plays the Sheriff of Nottingham, and
That's
every
a perfect
time
role
you
for
see
him.
him, you just crack the fuck up.
And I'll give that a shot. I'm definitely down for some more Rickman on this channel. That'd be good stuff.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I'm not gonna lie, Ryan. This is the first time I've ever actually seen Die Hard, and seeing him in his first ever Hollywood production. Yeah, that's something.
Oh my god. Yeah, so bringing that up, I actually have a confession to make. So I have seen Die Hard that takes place in the airport. I saw the Die Hard with Sam Jackson and fucking Jeremy Irons, the bad guy. I've seen Live Free Die Hard, which was just fucking hilarious in terms of just how ridiculous that they had fucking 60-year-old Bruce Willis jumping on a goddamn jet fighter. That was just funny to me. But until actually watching this, I realized that I had never seen the original Die Hard. After all of these years, this was my first time seeing it.
Like I said, I'm in the same boat as well. My dad probably watched it in the background when I was living back home with mom and dad way back when I was a kid, but I probably never sat down to watch it with him. You know me, I was more the Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid, so... Yeah. And all respect to Bruce Willis, but man, you are not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, so... But no, it's actually really nice to go back and see this. Now that I'm older, I can appreciate it more. And I'm looking forward to talking about it because it's some trivia that sort of discusses some of what it did in comparison to other films at the time. And I'm looking forward to getting to that.
All right.
But yeah, I would say, I guess we can get first impressions out of the way real quick. I would say I can understand why it's a really well-regarded action film at the time. I don't think it's a personal favorite of mine, but... I do really like it, and I am glad I've seen it, and I can definitely say it was a lot of fun.
Alright. Well, my initial thoughts, I loved it, 100%. I also can see how it became such a classic. Even though I had never seen it before, it evoked, and what I'm coming to realize is it probably was the start of the big action blockbuster niche of the 90s that all of those big ass films came out. I feel like Die Hard started a lot of that stuff, and I could see it kind of hearkening to all of the shit that I grew up on. So while I had never seen it before, it instantly felt like a classic to me.
It does have that feeling to it. I will agree with that. So Ryan, I've got a fun synopsis here for you. You ready for this?
I am so ready. My drink is across the room. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. 6 months since he's seen his family, Officer John McClane comes out to the strange land of California for the holidays. He meets his estranged wife at Nakatomi Tower during a big company Christmas party. And wouldn't you know it, a group of terrorists shows up without an RSVP. Language barriers, I guess. Why are they here? Well, if you were to believe Snape, it's for the money. $640 million in bearer bonds. The building's owner, Mr. Takagi, is killed when he refuses to cooperate. You don't cooperate with terrorists. Come on now. John goes into action cop mode and begins his mission to rescue the guests in the tower. Take down the terrorists and see his family in time for the holidays. John takes down the German terrorists one by one, with the goal of finding his way to communicate with the local police. A game of cat and mouse leads John through the inner workings of the building. He makes communications with a cop. I believe his name was Al, right? While hiding his identity to keep his estranged wife safe.
I believe that's actually Officer Winslow, sir.
Gotcha. I remember didn't he keep calling him Al over the radio, though?
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking Family Matters joke.
Things get to a standstill when the cops and the FBI are standing outside trying to break in for the rescue, but are unable to go beyond Hans's defenses. John is stuck in a hiding place, short on ammo and time, and his wife, along with the hostages, are waiting for release. John's identity is revealed, no thanks to his wife's co-worker, Ellis. This guy was trying to speed things along, but his lies cause him to kind of lose his head a little bit. And now Hans is willing to take out hostages until they can find someone John actually cares about. Hans meets John under the guise of the party guest and tricks the detonators away from John. Just as Hans's hacker has gotten through the 6th lock of the vault. One more to go, guys. It's a pretty high-tech vault. The FBI cuts the power to the building, ingeniously opening the final lock of the vault, and Hans and all his men get all the guns inside. Hans soon figures out that John's wife is in attendance and grabs her, too, as a hostage. John's running short on time, and the building is now rigged to blow upon their escape. John has to fight off an angry German on his route to Hans, but he's too late as the rooftop explodes. But Hans has not actually escaped. It's all a ploy. He's actually preparing his real escape in the garage. John finds them, however, and ends with one last shootout. An injured Hans is thrown from Nakatomi Tower, and the day is saved. He meets the cop who saved him, and enjoys Christmas with his family, presumably off-screen. That's Die Hard!
This goddamn movie. This movie is the best.
It is surprisingly competent for a movie that back in the day, like, you have all these big old cheesy action blockbusters. So I'll say, yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
I mean, this movie definitely brings the cheese, but it's true to itself. You know, it never feels like it's going too far, but it's pretty plausible within like the reality that the movie has created. So I really like how it kind of plays that line. I really do.
So let's compare it to other action films at the time, because around this time, Stallone and Schwarzenegger also had big action blockbusters in the guise of Predator, Terminator, or at least one of the Terminator sequels, I believe, Rambo. They all go for the power fancy. They go for these big, gory, high-octane action movies. This one's still pretty intense, but it's very grounded. It's very arguably realistic, and it just feels like you can feel the raw action happening there. You can feel the damage that he's taking. Whereas the other guys, they feel like they're Supermen, and it's like, okay, well, at least here I feel like this guy actually has a chance of dying.
Yeah, I like that too. Now that when you make comparisons to all those other movies, you know, like the main character is this fucking like nigh unstoppable, super swole ass dude that can somehow keep like match wits with an intergalactic predator with fucking like stupid ass technology that turns him invisible, but somehow he can keep up with this thing. But John McClane, while he's a cop, and while it's fucking Bruce Willis, who's still a good-looking white dude, so he fits the bill, he still comes off as a believable good-looking white dude. So it's like, I feel like this movie was really popular because it allowed a lot more people to kind of find purchase in it and like put themselves in John McClane's shoes, or lack thereof.
I like that
fucking movie.
That's what you did there. But no, I agree. I think that it helps that Bruce Willis is such a talented actor. He did such a good job playing this very frantic, desperate bid for survival, and he played this, and while also being cocky and arrogant and thinking, I can do this, I've got this, these guys have nothing on me. But when things got tough, he acted the part of being frantic and like, okay, these shots will kill me, I've got to fucking hide. So it's like, I bought the role. He did a great job with it.
I personally loved the shtick where like as like shit was starting to get crazy, he was actually talking to himself. That's exactly the type of shit that I would do. It's like, fuck, why didn't you save him, John? Because I'd be dead too then, dickhead. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly how you cope with stress when you don't have anybody to talk to.
Oh,
And of course, that was solved when his boy Al got on the line.
oh, trust me, I'm in the same boat. When I am writing stuff, editing stuff, or just coming up with ideas for things that need to kind of work out things in my head, my thing for me, and I've told this to Amanda separately, is when I try to think of things and I don't like say them out loud, sometimes I'll have multiple thoughts overlapping one another, and it'll just all be a big hodgepodge of ideas that I can't suss out what I'm thinking about. But if I say it out loud, I only have one mouth, Ryan. I can only hear one thing that comes out at a time. It kind of filters everything in my head down into this like funnel, so to speak. So it makes it easier for me to kind of organize my thoughts that way, you know?
Exactly. Plus, I like to kind of play devil's advocate with myself, and I'll pose a question, and then I'll try and think through it, and then I'll try to counter argument that one, and then it'll help me kind of filter out the good, the good train of thought that I need to find. And it's sometimes hard to wrangle myself from tangents, but after a while, I figure out what the fuck I'm doing, and audibly audiating that, sure, that's a word, saying that shit out loud helps me think it through. So I think that was a really reliable, a very realistic touch that Bruce Willis added to it. I don't know if it was just in the script or if that was Bruce Willis, but whoever put that in made it about twice as believable. So I applaud them for that.
Oh,
one.
absolutely, and I bought it. I bought the whole rule. So my only other Die Hard experience, I should probably bring this up too, since you brought it up earlier, is Live Free or Die Hard, which compared to this movie is just so cartoonishly silly.
Well, yeah.
But this, like I said, this is one where it all started, and it just felt so realistic. I'm wondering, like, why? Why did they take things to such an extreme? Like, I get Hollywood has this notion of bigger, better, bigger budget, more action, more explosions, all that stuff. But when you look back at where it started, you have to think this is genuinely good. This genuinely had some thought and ideas behind it that actually worked. And why would you expand upon it in such a silly way? Just do different things with it. Don't necessarily make it bigger. Just do different. I don't know. I just think it's
because they were on movie 4 and Hollywood just kind of kills sequels to death. I mean, shit. Like, can you point to a series of movies, 4 movies or more longer, that is not based on books yet retains its original goodness by the 4th installation? Because I can't.
See, I have 2 I could think of, but you can make arguments against him as well. One of them would be Jurassic Park, because Jurassic World is really good, but it lost it in between. And Jurassic World isn't based on a book; it's based on the same concept as the book, but only the first 2 movies are based on actual books.
Okay.
But my argument against that, though, is Jurassic World is not nearly as good as the first 2, so I kind of shoot myself in the foot there. The other one, arguably, is Star Wars. Now, I know that people would say the prequels don't count, but then the new ones have come out, and they've been generally really good, and they've been going back to the roots of what made Star Wars great. So, I don't know what you'd think about that one.
I'll give you Star Wars. I will give you Star Wars. Yes, that is a once in a generation idea. But yes, I will give you Star Wars.
Yep, I will do my best to think of another one, but I'm pretty sure I'm out of ideas there. Moving on.
But that's the point. I think that's where Die Hard fell. At the end of the day, it fell to the same Hollywood bullshit. Okay, well, we gotta come out with the 4th movie. Bruce Willis is 60, but he's still pretty in shape. Get in touch with his agent. If he wanted to come back 10 years later and do Die Hard 4, we could make him $1 gazillion. We'll have him do something crazy like jump on a fucking plane or something. And that's how it happened.
I gotta wonder, who is more damaging to their own body with these kind of movies? Is it going to be Bruce Willis or is it going to be Tom Cruise?
I would argue it's Tom Cruise.
He does his own
because I'm pretty
stunts.
sure Tom Cruise does a lot of his own fucking
I don't
stunts.
know how much of his own stunts Bruce Willis does. I'd have to look into that a bit, but I can't imagine it's more than Tom Cruise. I cannot imagine.
Yeah. No, I would definitely say Tom Cruise. Plus, Mission Impossible is. Ooh, you know what? That's it. Mission Impossible. I answered my own question because I still love watching the Mission Impossible movies. They're just fun. They're just a lot of fun.
Um, so let's see. Let's look at some stuff I got here for you. So, as we all know, this movie takes place 90%, maybe even 95% in Nakatomi Tower as a setting. And a lot of movies tend to change settings throughout the film. This movie stays in one place the whole time. Different rooms, different floors, but definitely the same building. Do you think that works for this movie? I personally think it does. I think it limits the scope of the film, and it keeps the budget small, and it allows them to do some fun stuff without having to make everything confusing with these different locations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that for this setting, it was a really, really good choice. And I really like that they made it so that the building was still under construction. So that you had these different settings within the building that looked entirely different. So you can cut from the bad guys in this fully furnished, like really nice office building, and then cut to John, who's like fucking 20 stories up higher, like in a bare bones like construction area up top, having a shootout with this fucking German dude. I think it works, and it constructs the setting so that you get a lot of different looks and locations, but at the same time it keeps the budget small and it keeps the story contained too.
Absolutely. Moving on here. How do you feel about the film's slow build to action? There's a lot of quiet space and downtime before some of the big action sequences, especially during the first half. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
I liked a good amount of it. I like that it took its time to establish the story, and it really gives the characters a bit of a chance to shine. Like, you get a slow introduction to who the fuck John McClane actually is before all the bullets start flying, and you get to really go into like the storyline with his wife and like the argument that they have before all the shit goes down. My one complaint, and it's not even really a complaint, but it's just kind of funny with the amount of time that they take in the beginning to really set up and try to inject meaning and feeling into like him and his wife and like them trying to work back up to get together. The big emotional payoff at the end of the movie is not him and his wife. It's him meeting this fucking police officer for the first time. They have the whole scene where they fucking see each other from across the crowd and things slow down and they realize who they are and they smile
but
and
I think
laugh.
I think that works though because they establish a really strong relationship, and the cop saves his life, and he in turn saves the cop's life. And I think the two of them just share a lot more back and forth during the film than he does with his wife, and that makes sense.
No. I'm not mad that they did it, but I think it's hilarious that the whole movie is around him trying to get to his family. Like, the whole beginning of this, the whole first setup of this movie is John misses his family and is going to do anything to get back to them.
And they take a back seat for most of it.
Right, they take a back seat for the most of it. Like, his wife gets to be a boss and really, like, deal with the terrorists, which is really cool. His kids get a little side shot when that dickhead reporter, like, sneaks into their home.
I was so mad about
that. I'm so glad she punched him the fuck out. I'm so happy. But I feel like the big emotional payoff was between him and the cop, which, while it makes sense in the movie, it really does, and it's well done. It's funny that he doesn't have that whole emotional payoff with his wife and his kids.
Well, and thinking about it, too, it makes sense they did it that way, not in the sense of the story, but look at the market of other big action films of the time. Like we already said, you have your Schwarzeneggers, your Stallones, your Seagals. these big, tough, burly men. And while we're in 2018, and women in action movies now do a lot more than they used to, back then, kind of an unheard of concept. I don't think marketing would have ever let that happen.
I just like to laugh at it. That's all.
No,
I
know.
Like I said, it was well done. I'll never be mad that they did it. It just makes me laugh that it happened that way.
No, I'm just providing context. I'm sure there's someone out there who's going to get salty about it. I'm sure there's people who are going to question it. I'm like, well, again, 1988, it kind of makes sense. I'm not trying to defend it, just saying that's kind of the world it was back then. That's all.
Yep, very true.
Let's see here. What do I got next? Okay, so here's an interesting question, and I got two. I guess it's a two-parter, so I'll start with part one. Do Hans Gruber's men seem actually surprisingly competent in this movie, compared to the usual stock henchmen you see in films like this?
Yeah, this dude actually, like, these guys actually were on top of their shit. Like, I believed that these guys were a threat more than just simply because they have guns. I thought, like, they actually, like, as a unit, were really, really good. And the only time that they kind of strayed from that is with the big-ass blonde dude, and it's only because his little brother just got killed by this guy. So it makes sense that he would be the one to kind of go off the rails, because now he personally wants to fuck John's life up. Yeah. And yet that never makes him less competent.
It just makes him take risks that he shouldn't be taking.
Right. And I think it's a very clever way of making John seem like a really amazing protagonist without making him, like, unbelievably amazing. Like, John never feels too good at anything. Like, he's skilled and he's very persistent and he knows a lot of shit, but he never feels like a caricature of a person or like what's the male equivalent for a Mary Sue?
Gary Stu.
A Gary Sue, a Marty Sue, whatever the fuck. Y'all know what I mean. He feels like a normal person, and by elevating the level of the bad guys that he has to overcome, it makes John look even more of a badass without making it unbelievable.
Well, and it sticks out to me, too, because the only other film I can think of, and again, my repertoire of films in this genre, not super wide, but the only other film I can think of with, like, competent henchmen for the big bad of the film was Avengers Infinity War. He had those 4 dudes that were by his side. They actually were a threat to all the Avengers.
Yes, very true.
And I can't think of any other action film to my memory where the henchmen were actually capable of giving the main dude a challenge, or actually able to, like, pin him down and make his life a living hell. Like, most of them are stock throwaway dudes that just get tossed away, but here they actually feel like a threat. And yeah, I can't think of anything else where they were on that level. Most of them feel like Team Rocket in other movies. Shots fired.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back towards, like, making your protagonist look amazing.
Yes.
And I feel like you can make your protagonist look amazing by increasing the odds of the shit that he has to overcome. And a lot of movies do it by increasing the number of henchmen, or, like, giving them, like, spooky ass, like, equipment or what have you. But it's one dude, it's John McClane against a small-ish team. I want to say maybe 20, 25 guys.
I felt like it was a dozen, but yeah.
Like maybe a dozen, like 10 to 20 people, but who are all pretty fucking competent. And the only reason that he's winning is because he's hitting him with guerrilla tactics, and he's taking them all one at a time, and even then, he has to fucking outthink them and, like, really run for his life at times, because these dudes will kill him. They're rocking submachine guns, and he has a fucking pistol. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So, I think it's a very intelligent way of making your protagonist even better without pushing the boundary of disbelief.
Absolutely. On the flip side of this, do the cops in the FBI seem far too incompetent to be real? ignoring Al, obviously, because he's a champ.
Oh my god. I mean what you call it. So his like Al's immediate commanding officer that shows up is just a moron. He's just flat out a fucking maroon. So that I bought because you have to have incompetence somewhere. Honestly, you gotta have at least one dude. The FBI, they didn't strike me as incompetent. They struck me as supremely arrogant. It's like they walk on and they know they're the fucking rock stars. And so they're like, all right, well, we're going to cut the power to them, which is going to throw them for a fucking loop. And then we're going to jump onto this gunship and we're going to gun them down from the sky. We might lose 25% of the hostages, but that's acceptable because we took out the bad guys. And then we go home and we get a nice big bonus at the end of the day. That's how they felt. It wasn't really incompetence, but just they couldn't imagine that they were dealing with actual competent villains, and it fucked them over in the end.
Yeah, I do think it was a good twist though. Just you had these very like capable villains just doing their business, and you have these heroes, these cops and FBI come in, and you're right, they're not the worst, but they aren't Chief Wiggum, but they do have some issue being able to keep up with these new villains. And man, I'm just surprised how it turned out that way. Like, it was really well done. I like it, but I've just never seen such a twist like that. It was really good, really good.
Yes, fan-fucking-tastic. I love it.
Speaking of the villains, my next question here for you, Ryan. So, the motivations for Hans Gruber and his men, the money, is a very simple kind of motivation. And in most action films that you and I have seen, I'm sure we've both seen plenty where the villain's main goal is world domination, or destroying the world, or doing some other big, fantastical, goofy thing. Doesn't this feel kind of refreshing, just how simple and down-to-earth this feels?
Honestly, yeah. For real. It's just money. We want money. That's it. We got them.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Thanos' big plan to destroy half of everything, but money, man, I mean, it's just so simple.
And again, it brings the situation is serious, but it brings it down to a relatable level. At the end of the day, it's 10 to 20 guys who are trying to rob the fuck out of this building, and they're just really, really good at what they're doing. And I love that they play on like all of the other tropes. Is just like, oh well, yeah, we're terrorists, and we're gonna hold these hostages until you like release the members of the Asian Dawn. And then his boy looks at him like, what? And he's like, I read about him on Time magazine. I don't fucking know. It's just like they're just playing. They're playing with the expectations and like the cliches that are already set up, and they're even more successful for it because they had all of them spinning on their heels, thinking they were that kind of villain, when in fact they just wanted to rob the place.
Ah, so good. Okay. So, my next questions here are actually more about the actors. So first off, this is Alan Rickman's first Hollywood production ever. What did you think of his first outing, and should we do more Alan Rickman on this show?
Oh my god, can we always do more Alan Rickman? I swear to God, if you wanted to do a month of only Alan Rickman movies, I would be 100% down for it.
Man, if only the search engine optimization would let me do that.
Oh my god.
I could try to find some wiggle room. We can see what we can do. For people listening, if you want more Alan Rickman, please leave comments down below. Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Hashtag Alan for after Alan. Let's do that one. No, wait, after Rickman. There we go. Hashtag after Rickman.
Yep. The After Rickman podcast. Yeah, I would 100% do that. But I thought it was like it's so refreshing to see a young Alan Rickman. Honestly, it's really refreshing to see him in stuff.
And it's funny too, because he's not even that young. He started acting like in his 30s or 40s. Like he got into it late, and he did really good.
He did really good. But when I say a young Alan Rickman, I mean it is evident that he is a young actor.
Yes.
He doesn't have all of the experience that we see him bring to Professor Snape or something like that. You know what I mean?
Snape. I miss him.
but I love what he did with it. Honestly, I love what he did with it. I absolutely adore the scene where he pretends to be American.
It was
I
so good.
100%. It's one of the best scenes. I'm sitting there like this, like because I had an idea. I'm like, he's going to have to meet him at some point because he's gonna realize that his wife is who his wife is by looking at the picture, and the only way he's gonna know that is if he's seen John McClane face to face. So as soon as it happened, I was just like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?" And then he threw on an American accent, and I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, shout out to John McTiernan for making that call. That was a smart move right there. It really gave the characters something to work off of. It let us actually see how they interact, and it gave more depth to their relationship beyond just, oh, I'm gonna kill you, no, I'm gonna kill you. Like it worked, and I love seeing Alan stretch his acting chops even more. It was great. It was perfect.
Yeah, I really love how subtle that scene is too, because after his initial trickery, and they're inside the building, they play a small game of like social chess with each other, where he's trying to figure out if he actually is who he says he is, and so he introduces himself, and he's expecting him to make up a name that's not on the roster, which is right behind him.
Oh,
it's
so smart.
So clever.
So smart.
And he pulls a name without look. I feel like he saw it beforehand and just filed it away just in case. But they were just like, it was a very subtle interplay of the characters in a movie that had thus far been snappy one-liners and blowing shit up. It added so much depth to the whole movie. Just that interaction was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. What do I have left here? Okay, so I got two more questions, and then we'll move on to our trivia segment. Ryan, does this film hold up as to modern film today? And does it hold up to modern action films? Why or why not?
Well, I think I brought it up. I brought it up earlier, but I feel like a lot of like action, like the action staples, just like the general like feel that action movies go for, came from this movie. Like, I granted there are a lot of other action movies around the time that did a lot of this stuff, but I feel like this was really kind of the beginning of like the 90s action film, like the shit that I grew up on.
The progenitor, you might say.
Yeah, it's almost like the progenitor, and because while you do have like the Predator and a bunch of other and some other things that came before it, I feel like this really set the tone, and I like it. It felt like an instant classic, even though I was watching it for the first time. It felt like a 90s action movie, and I'm like, this is exactly. It's one of the early progenitors of the action genre. So 100% I agree. It absolutely holds water.
I agree as well. I think that a lot of modern films could learn a thing from this. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not as good. But I do think that it would behoove modern directors of action films to maybe revisit this one and just kind of get a taste of what a more down-to-earth, grounded, realistic approach would be. Not saying to abandon fantasy. Not saying to abandon all the flying heroes and laser beams. I'm just saying, tone it down a little bit and just see what you can do with a smaller budget and a smaller scope. Because I feel like you get your best stories when you set yourself on some limits. I really do.
Yeah. And I mean, even like having realistic action and intrigue, like you still get those kinds of movies nowadays, and I think that those really hold water as well because they're so accessible. I mean, fucking Taken.
Liam
so
Neeson.
It's Liam Neeson. It's one dude traipsing around Europe, just using his wits. No crazy ass no crazy ass technology. No spy gadgets. No flying drones. No nothing. It's just one dude trying to track down a gang of kidnappers using his wits and just pure menace, and it's wonderful. It's fucking fantastic.
I just wish Taken 2 and 3 were as good, but man, they have problems.
Sequels, man, sequels.
Last question for this round here. Recently, Bruce Willis called out fans decrying this film's status as a Christmas movie. Do you agree or disagree with his claims, Ryan?
You know what? I can understand why he's saying this isn't a quote-unquote Christmas movie. But I will say that this movie has such a classic feel to it. And it does go out of its way to make some Christmas jokes.
It does
and,
acknowledge
to
Christmas is happening. Yes,
it does acknowledge it. It's just like I think the film is a classic, period, and I can absolutely believe that so many Christmas traditions were dads and their kids sitting down to watch this fucking fantastic action movie on Christmas. I can believe that this movie has become a Christmas tradition. So by that token, I will say yes, I can believe it's a Christmas movie.
I'll say as much. When I have kids and they're old enough to appreciate this, probably like early teens, we'll make this a Christmas tradition. We'll make this a thing we'll watch every year, because I think they'll get a kick out of this too. It's definitely good enough to hold up, and it's got enough of the Christmas dressing on it to give the impression that it's a Christmas movie to an extent.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give them a shot with it too. I hope that by the time they're here and they can appreciate it, that it doesn't become that it's not like so far gone that they can't identify with it. Because I feel like I identify with it not only because it's a good movie, but because it harkens back to the shit that I grew up with. And I wonder if later generations will be able to tie to it the same way.
Man, it's going to be an interesting thing to find out, but unfortunately neither of us are going to be able to do that anytime soon, because, well, stuff happens. Anyway, that's all for my discussion questions, Ryan. Before we get on, let's move on to the mailbag to let everyone know that you can email us at, Ryan, what is that email again?
That is evacstation@gmail.com, and my one wish for Christmas is to have one of you email me so I can talk to you. I talk to myself, guys. Come on, help me, please.
And if you don't want to reach to us on our email, we get it. It's a personal thing. Maybe you don't want to reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. All of our links down there for our pages are in the description. So please go down and check us out. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us your favorite holiday movies, your favorite traditions. Tell us what you're looking forward to for Christmas this year. If we get enough people actually giving me their Christmas wish list, I will actually read some of those names and their wishes on an episode. That'd be great.
That would be a lot of fun, yeah.
What do you want for Christmas, little listener? Why, you want a pizza? Well, we're not Pizza Hut. Get the hell out of here. But no, seriously, go ahead and message us. And beginning next year, guys, we're going to be doing some fun stuff with M. Night Shyamalan and a few more anime movies, some DC movies. So get heads up on that stuff and tell us your favorite movies of those or Christmas movies, and we'll read your favorite movies live on the air, and we're going to have some fun with all that. So with that in mind, Ryan, are you ready for the first round of holiday trivia?
I made the deal. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
So every single episode, except for the Scrooged episode, I have purposely made more difficult than the next. This one's going to be easy for you. This is the first episode. Scrooge is scheduled for our last episode, but I have a special thing for that one, so just you wait. So, Ryan, are you ready?
Yep. Let's get this show on the road.
Question number one of round number one. What much reviled Christmas food is notorious for its long shelf life?
Long shelf life. Oh, you know what? I've never had it yet, but I keep hearing stuff about fruitcake and how you have like Christmas fruitcake until like fucking August of next year. So I'm gonna go with fruitcake.
Ding ding ding! You got that one right, sir.
Yes.
All right, next one. This decoration What decoration is originally made from strands of silver?
Ooh, I'm gonna guess tinsel because it looks like strands of silver.
You're 2 for 2 right there. Good work.
Yes.
All right, question number 3. What is the more common name for the Christmas drink milk punch?
Milk punch? I've never heard of it called milk punch. I'm gonna guess eggnog because that's the only thing I can think of that remotely fits that bill.
You are correct. I've never heard milk punch either, but that was the trivia I found.
Who the fuck calls it milk punch? What the?
Again, if anyone out there calls it milk punch, please, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, the email, let us know.
No. If you call it milk punch, stay the fuck away from the comments. Or get in the comments and fight me. Because milk punch, what's wrong with you?
Next question, Ryan. I think you might get this one. What decoration is actually a parasitic plant?
Parasitic plant. Mistletoe?
4 for 4. You're doing good so far.
Yes! Alright. Goddamn.
Alright, and the final question for round 1. What item actually brings Frosty the Snowman to life?
I'm pretty sure it's his hat. It's either his hat or his pipe. Hold on. No, I'm gonna go with my first mind. I'm gonna say it's his hat. Magic hat.
And for the first time in quite some time, a total shutout. Ryan gets all 5 points for the trivia.
Yes! Oh, I'm gonna ride this high for as long as it takes until the next episode because, God help me, it's not gonna last.
Well, like I said, it's going to gradually get a little harder. I'm not going to warn you how hard it gets, but let's just say I have some pretty rough stuff for the third one.
Aaron likes watching me suffer, guys.
Just a little. But yeah, that's all for trivia. Good work on that one, Ryan. And we'll go ahead and go to our final thoughts and closing out here. So, normally we do a ranking of platinum through shit and all the colors in between. But because it's the holidays, Ryan, I thought we'd do something fun like we did for Halloween.
Ooh.
So, Ryan, for Die Hard, does this film deserve to be on the nice list or the naughty list?
Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. I really do. Damn, this is absolutely going on the nice list. I'm so happy that I got to discover this movie. This movie made me want to watch the rest of the Die Hard movies now. Like, I want to go back and see them because I haven't seen them in forever. So yes, absolutely nice list.
I have to concur. Like I said, I'd never seen Die Hard before. My own fault, of course, but I'm glad I did. And yeah, I don't get how it got to the insane levels of Live Free or Die Hard, but where it all started, man, this is good. This is real good, and I'm looking forward to, at some point, seeing 2 and 3. I want to see how they hold up. I can't imagine they're as good as this, but we'll find out.
I don't know, man. 3 has fucking Sam Jackson, dude.
Yeah, Sam Jackson can sell a movie pretty good.
Sam Jackson.
So yeah, next week, I actually need to look up the schedule here real quick, because I think I remember it, but I don't remember it very well, so, yeah, give me 2 seconds here, what the fuck am I looking at here? This is not, that's the wrong list, what the hell is that? After credits, there it is, I don't know why I got that one open. Okay, so next week for y'all, you'll be listening to, drumroll please, Home Alone.
Yes, now that's a fucking classic. That is a goddamn... Ooh, I can't wait to see that.
But because we chose to do our schedule in a slightly different way, recording-wise, we're gonna go record Scrooge next. That'll be fun.
Okay.
So, again, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and evacstation@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us all there. And we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.